Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gianluca Massi speaking from Rome on the behalf of the Virtual Telescope project. It is a big pleasure for me to be here tonight. Well, it may be this day if you are in a different region of this beautiful planet, sharing with you the supermoon, the largest full moon of this year. Every time something interesting is showing out there, the Virtual Telescope project is around trying to bring to you the beauty and the wonders of such a truly outstanding experience. And even this time, the supermoon asked us to do something to bring to you the experience. And we really wanted to bring to you the beauty of this full moon. We will tell you what the supermoon is and similar things, but also adding the special sight you have from the eternal city in Rome. Before I start sharing images with you, I want to thank the technological partners of the Virtual Telescope project, and they are Unitron Italia Instruments, Software Bisq, C-Web and Telescope Live. I also want to thank PlaneWeb Instruments and Bader Planetarium for their support. Okay, you have heard about this supermoon, and first of all, I want to say that supermoon has nothing to do with astronomy. After all, this word is not an official scientific word, but we recognize, I must admit, that the appeal of the word supermoon is very special. What is super in the supermoon? Well, the moon is just orbiting around our planet. It takes almost 1 month to the moon to orbit the Earth, and the orbit of the moon is not circular, it is elliptic. It has some kind of eccentricity, and because of that, sometimes the moon is a bit closer, sometimes it's been farthest from the Earth, and we call the position, the moment, the point of the orbit when the moon is at its minimum distance from the Earth, we call that point perigee. While the moon is at the farthest from the Earth along its orbit, its elliptic orbit, I underline, we call it apogee. When the moon is at its closest, at its perigee, and it is also full, that is when we use the word, the non-astronomical, non-scientific word, supermoon. In short, a supermoon, a full supermoon, because we are talking about the full moon, a full supermoon is just telling simply that you have the full moon while our satellite is at its closest, to our planet. Because of that, of course, you have a moon which is a bit larger and a bit brighter than usual, than the average full moon. But trust me, my friends, I really don't think that anyone out there is able to recognize that tonight the full moon is brightest than a typical full moon or bigger, because there are very small values, a few percent, more or less 7% larger this moon, the supermoon, the full supermoon is against an average full moon. And honestly, I really don't think that the average observer can recognize a different in apparent size of this lunar disk of the 7%. That said, my friend, we started this live feed a bit later because the region, the scenic point I selected for taking images of the moon was not under a very good mobile coverage. I was expected to broadcast the images live from there, but being outside, I really need to rely on the mobile connection, and unfortunately it was poor. So what I did was to collect a few images and just having a ride back home just to share those images, still smoking, very hot images, and to have those images shared with you. And before I start showing images taken tonight, I really would like to share with you some images I've been taking of the moon from Rome over the years, because trust me when I say that being in Rome, it is honestly a beautiful opportunity because you can see the moon, you can see the brightest objects, of course, plenty of lights and light pollution, but the brightest objects can really be enjoyed together with the legendary monuments of the eternal city, Rome. And these images I'm sharing with you right away are hopefully able to bring to you the wonders of what I'm saying here, my friends. Let me see if I can just make this a bit slower. So there are several moons, full moons, supermoon, or just lunar crescent captured over the here, and I really believe that you can recognize the monuments. This is, for example, a sequence I did during the beautiful 28 total lunar eclipse above the Colosseum. This is another full moon rising just above the Colosseum itself, and here you have a lunar crescent, and on the right you have the St. Peter Dome, another beautiful dome at sunset early in the evening in Rome, and here the full moon is just rising above the Italian flag, that is the Quirinale, the house of our president. And this is perhaps the image I love more, with the full moon, supermoon last year, May 2021, just rising above the glory of Rome. And I really think that these images can hopefully bring to you the wonders I just faced those evening. Look here, I really love just imaging the full moon when it is rising. Imaging the full moon while it rises automatically means you are just imaging or observing the full moon at sunset, because the geometrical condition just making possible for us to have the full moon is that from the earth the sun and the moon are on opposite directions. So when the sun is setting, the full moon is rising and vice versa. At dawn, when the sun is ready to rise, the moon is just setting. In other words, if you just wait for the full moon at its rise, you still have around the twilight, just making possible for you to enjoy the terrestrial environments. I must say I really prefer to look at the full moon at its rise during the twilight than in the middle of the night, because in the middle of the night the lunar disk, the full moon, is incredibly bright, and after all you really miss the contest because you have a very dark sky with a bright, almost really hard to look bright lunar disk, and the city is just in the shadow. But at sunset the full moon is rising, of course, opposite direction of the sun, respect to the sun, and you can still see the environment, as I hopefully hope you can easily see from these images, my friends. That said, I want to continue just showing images to you. This is another image I really love. This is another full moon dating back a few years ago, but this one was taken at sunrise with the full supermoon setting, and of course you can see there the St. Peter Dome, and just a couple of minutes later, look here, while the sun was rising and the supermoon, full supermoon, was setting, I had this just perfect alignment. I would say a very special eclipse, just involving, as you can see here, the St. Peter Dome on the foreground and the full moon on the background. And this is, I think, honestly amazing. And sometimes even the crescent, not only the full moon, is a very beautiful sight. For example, when you have a very young moon, just 1 or 2 days after the new moon, you start seeing a very sharp lunar crescent, and you can also enjoy the earth shine. That is, while you see a very sharp, bright crescent, you can see the entire lunar disk, because even if most of the moon it is just in darkness, it is just enlightened by the light that the earth is just bringing back to the moon. Because as you have as you can see from the earth, the full moon, and you can enjoy in the middle of the night the the moonlight, and you can barely see at night. You can imagine how bright the full earth is in the lunar sky and how much light the earth disk in the lunar sky is just sending in the lunar night. So this is why you see in this case the entire lunar disk, because that is the solar light just sent to the lunar night by the earth. It is the earth shine, okay? Like you can see and can walk during the night at full moon, you could walk at full night during full earth on the moon, and I really love this. And it is a detail I never tired to enjoy, to admire the airshine, my friends. And here it is another image from my collection. This is again a sharp lunar crescent setting in Rome. On the right you can see the astronomical observatory Monte Mario, and you can really recognize on the right the solar tower, and you can see between the lunar disk and the observatory there is a very bright dot of light. Well, friends, that was planet Mercury. Not that bad. And now another image coming from my archives before I start sharing images collected tonight. Again, this very young sharp lunar crescent at sunset, in just surrounded by very beautiful colors. You can really see here St. Peter Dome with all its beauty. And here it is the Great Synagogue in Rome, imaged with the full moon setting. Just another image I collected in June 2019 at dawn. At dawn, the full moon is setting, and in this case, I wanted to see the full moon setting behind the Great Synagogue in Rome. And here it is an image I already shared, very likely the full moon, the supermoon in 2017 rising with several monuments easily to recognize. And of course, this is the Colosseum, and I'm very sure that you can easily recognize this because, of course, this is a legend. This is one of the most important monuments around the planet, and the full moon was just rising among the clouds behind it. That's it. That's it, my friends. I want to start sharing with you images I collected tonight. This is the first image from tonight, my friends. This is the July 2022 full supermoon, the largest full moon of the year. I was in Monte Mario, an hill in the city, and as you can see, just above the mountains there were clouds which actually made the moon rising later, because they were an obstacle after all. And I had to wait an extra time, a few minutes, and those minutes were very precious because in a matter of minutes at sunset you see the environment just switch from still bright to almost dark, and this is what happened. So I was lucky, thanks to my camera, to capture, despite I was a bit short in time at this point, the lunar disk just emerging from those layers of clouds, and the city still showing just on the bottom. Just a matter of seconds later, you can see a small difference, more lunar disk, same scenery, because I had the camera just installed on my tripod there, and again a few seconds later a bit more of the moon. And now I adjusted the exposure, the sheen, and here you can see at its best to me Rome, the mountains on the background, and the full moon just leaving the clouds. Perhaps this one is even better. How beautiful it has been for me to stay there and looking at that, waiting for the right moment, hoping to capture something, able to bring and share these things with you. how beautiful it is every time. And now, a bit later, here we are, and now I had just this one, just with a truly very bright moon just above Rome. And before I left the place, I managed to take this one, my friends. And these almost 10 images were collected, as I said, from Rome. I just was on Monte Mario Hill, just facing in the south-west direction, waiting for the full supermoon, the largest full moon of the year, rising, and despite the clouds just making a bit harder for me to spot and enjoy the full moon with the twilight all around, I must say I'm happy, and I was very happy to grab these images, just rushing back home and just sitting here, bringing them to you and sharing them with you. And I really hope that this image could bring to you the beauty of our natural satellite, and how interesting could be combining the vision of such a beautiful celestial body with the elements in our very own town, very own region, very own city. I feel myself lucky living in Rome, being able to do these things, because you have truly legendary, very well-known worldwide monuments. So having Rome just adding its signature just below the moon of some bright astronomical objects up there is always honestly an emotion. And honestly, I really hope that this experience was funny for you. But before we just close this live feed, I want to say something very, very important. While we are speaking, there is a nice comet out there, Comet Pan-STARRS. You have been very likely reading about this on all the media worldwide, and tomorrow this comet will be at its minimum distance from our home planet, and in about let me say 26 hours, a bit more than one day by now, we will be sharing live images of this truly intriguing visitor, dirty snowball icy world visiting our solar system, our sun, I would say. So if you want to see Comet Pan-STARRS live, just join us in 26 hours by now, or much better, visit our website virtualtelescope.eu and check there the countdown to be sure you are there at the right moment. And of course, all this is free. You can join really for free. But if you believe that what the Virtual Telescope project is doing for the world for free, and really want to support our, trust me, very hard work, you are welcome donating whatever you want, just visiting again the virtualtelescope.eu website, and from there you can find the donate option on the menu, and from there be sure that your support will be extremely precious to keep this project alive. We've been around for 16 years now. We have a legendary reputation. We are featured on by the most important media around the planet, just telling you how precious, how trusted is the Virtual Telescope project. That said, that's all from Gianluca Masi, Virtual Telescope project. It has been a pleasure for me to be here tonight. Hope you are doing great, you are fine, and I really hope to see you tomorrow, just to see together in real time Comet Pan-STARRS. Thank you very much, take care, see you tomorrow. Gianluca Masi, Rome, Virtual Telescope Project.